Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, Joe Biden. I don't know. The field's getting crowded. I'm leaving out a lot of people, I'm sure. Bernie hasn't announced. Can we play some bets? Chop it up. Holly, who's gonna get the nomination? I know it's early as hell. Everybody ain't in it. Let's assume Bernie's in. Who do you think takes it?
Like I said before, and like Shahid said as well, they see a strategy here. They are studying the administration. They see how Obama worked, and they see how they can use this angle. One thing I do want to talk about is that Jay-Z and Meek Mills are coming together to try to do some justice criminal reform. So for Harris to try to come out with her background of her flip-flopping and her background of not being for us for the criminal justice reform, that's really going to hurt her. But to be honest, I really do think that they're going to put her up there. I think they're going to put her up there. I think Mitt Romney's going to be in the House, and I think Trump's going to be in the House, of course, too. I mean, I really still think that he's pretty strong. If he gets the truth out of Syria and he gets this wall, he will be one of the few that actually do the things that they actually say they're going to do when they're running their campaign.
Good or bad. And look, what happens if he doesn't get the wall and this government shutdown was for nothing? Do you still think he wins the nomination, or you still think he's going to win in 2020?
That's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt him because when you're talking about the government, it's not just one particular type of people. The government's everybody. So that I think will definitely hurt him if he doesn't get the wall and we're just up here in limbo for nothing. Yeah, that's going to hurt him. But is it going to eliminate him? No. That's my thought.
Robbie.
Bernie Sanders, Bernie has a good run too. I think Bernie, because of the support that he had before in this 2016 campaign, I think he can come back out again. But will he, make it to debating? No.
Wow. Robbie, what do you think? It's 20. This is 20 going into 2020. This is 2019. This ain't 2016. Does Bernie still have the mojo? I still love Bernie, man. Bernie is what kind of got me to realize that maybe there are politicians that aren't all sold out crooks. So I appreciate that for Bernie. But yo, are we having wishful thinking about Bernie in 2020?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think the positives are that even if he's 4 years older now, he's maybe if he doesn't have the energy that we're hoping he'll have, I still think he's the best chance in the Democratic field of someone who can actually stand up against Trump. And in terms of his own energy, I mean, it might be lacking, but the energy for him out there in the public, I think, is higher than it is for any other candidate by far. So, there is energy behind Gabbard, but I think that, she's newer to the scene. There's things about her, I'll just say her moral compass that seem a little troublesome. I specifically for me, one of the deal breakers of wanting to support her is that she was conflicted about torture only 4 years ago when asked about it in an interview. Bernie Sanders also has, things that bug me a lot, especially about his foreign policy. But I think that in terms of if we're looking at it from the angle of who is going to generate the most excitement against Trump, it's Bernie. So that just for that reason alone, it would be very encouraging if he entered the race. And I'm kind of wondering, where is he right now? Is he actually seriously considering entering? I don't even know where he's actually at on that. So maybe someone else can answer that. But yeah, I mean, I'm, and I've never been a huge, I was never a Bernie sycophant or really, really largely into him as a candidate, but I still think he is by far the best chance of anyone running to beat Trump.
All right.
That much is absolutely certain. There's no question that Bernie is best situated, and just like he was in 2016, right? I mean, many of us who supported Bernie in 2016 did so because we knew that Clinton would lose the general election against Trump, and because every piece of evidence, including all the polling data, suggested that Bernie was poised to win if he got the Democratic nomination. And those facts haven't changed. Robbie's right that Bernie is a little bit older now than he was then, and he wasn't young then. But that notwithstanding, the momentum that he has built not just in terms of having established a nationwide base, but just think about how many donors he has. Bernie has, I don't think AOC's list has yet eclipsed his. I mean, Bernie has the most, for lack of a better word, lucrative fundraising email list that anybody in the country, I think, has ever had. And moreover, more importantly, I think than that, is the way that he has inspired an entire movement of people to run in his wake. AOC ran because, not only was she inspired by Bernie, but she worked on his campaign. I ran for my race in 2018, which will dust off soon for 2020, largely because we saw Bernie Sanders successfully promote a movement even when he lost the campaign. And there's a really important principle to grip here. You can win tactical victories and secure strategic losses, and you can secure strategic victories through tactical losses. Bernie had a tactical loss in 2016, but it was a strategic victory, and we can see that particularly because now there is suddenly a select committee on the climate crisis, and now Medicare for All is moving forward. There were a set of issues that he forced onto the political agenda, and the fact that those issues are sticking in the political agenda indicates that he has more juice, I think, than anybody in the entire spectrum. There's nobody else in the country, including all of the Democratic challengers you've mentioned, who can lay claim to have had as much demonstrated influence over the broad body politic as Bernie Sanders had. I want to make one caveat there. Senator Gillibrand, Joe Biden, neither of them have any business running. It's preposterous, right? They don't have bases. There's nothing that's distinguished them. The only thing that distinguishes Joe Biden is that he's lost so many campaigns for the presidency, and he's particularly creepy. And in the era of Me Too, it's crazy. No, seriously, if you Google Joe Biden and creepy, you will see dozens of video clips of him basically being touchy-feely with young women in ways that are entirely inappropriate.
Really?
Yeah.
That's all he'll tweet. He'll just tweet videos of that if they run against each other.
Guess what? We're going to see that video. If he runs, they're going to run that back.
There's plenty of them to run. The one contender I want to draw out among the Democrats who I think is Bernie light and Bernie-esque is Liz Warren. A lot of us in 2016 thought that if Liz Warren came off the bench, that she could have been the candidate to unite the Clinton and Sanders camps. Unfortunately, she is not the political pugilist that Bernie is. We saw in her reaction to Trump's demagoguery about her own ethnic background that she is entirely too willing to let the right wing set the terms of debate, and that's a demonstrated recipe for failure. That's among the things that sank the Clinton campaign and entirely, the entire wing of centrist Democrats. But Liz Warren has been as, if not more influential than Bernie in one particular respect. People forget how she got to the Senate. Liz Warren was a law professor, and she spent her entire career fighting banks in particular. Bernie's been fighting corporations from the Senate. She was fighting banks from Harvard Law School. When the Senate finally agreed, after decades of her advocacy, to create the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and then blocked her from leading the agency that she effectively created, she turned around, took out a Republican senator, beat him in an election, and came back to the Senate and was like, yeah, now what? She has cojones in a way that, Gillibrand doesn't, Biden doesn't. Bernie and Liz Warren are in a class unto themselves. And I think that while Liz Warren is Bernie light, I think she could be well-positioned potentially to carry on the mantle of fighting for the interests of working Americans against their co-optation by our corporate rulers.
Elizabeth Warren, ever since she endorsed Hillary Clinton, and I know Bernie endorsed Hillary too, it just always stuck in my craw, bro, that she could have made a real difference. I mean, it would have helped Bernie win Massachusetts. It could have changed the race, and if she would have spoke out. And I also, it's not missed on me, Bobby, that it would take a lot for someone in Elizabeth's position to not side with the first potential female president. Like, I get it, but we got to stand for the courage of our convictions. I mean, or all else is lost, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a big problem, that you didn't stand up for that. I'm not too familiar with her history, actually. I'll have to look into some of the things that were raised here. But yeah, I thought that one of the big mistakes she made so far was what was just said, is that she let the right frame the debate.
The Pocahontas thing. Yeah.
When Obama released his birth certificate, when Trump was starting to do those press conferences long before he was running for president. So that's a mistake. That's not a good sign for how she might deal with right-wing media attacks on her in the future. But yeah, I mean,
Obama's was worse though, Robbie, because Trump wasn't president then. So Obama elevated Trump by responding to Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
But he's already president. She just kind of fought back.
Like, you don't respond. That's funny.
I mean, I think Bernie, again, I just keep going back to, I hope that he makes some kind of announcement soon. And what also worries me is we already have so many potential people running that it's going to split the vote a lot. And especially for someone like Biden getting into the race, I mean, he's just going to take so much of the air up and lose again. And big donors are going to donate to him. I could just already see it. And it's just really depressing to think about him even bothering to run.
Chop it up.